this kind of stuff. So, last time was a little bit rough, so I went ahead and redid a few things, and actually, it turns out that whole 5v5 thing, I forgot if I mentioned this last time, but it looks like it might even be possible. Maybe. It's still a little bit unclear at the moment, but it does look like there's actually possibly a way to have Hamachi running... Well, supposedly there's a way that you can get Hamachi to basically know itself twice. So you functionally have two versions of Hamachi, two PSVs running on the same thing. The problem is this right here. So if anybody happens to know what the hell this translates into, I don't really have a friggin' kanji dictionary or some crap, so if anybody knows what this thing means, that's kind of the answer to making it work. Because when I was going back and looking through, there were a few folks that were able to make this method work, so whatever these things translate into is what the issue is. So alright, let's go ahead and get down to stuff here. So I went ahead and remade the team a little bit since last time, you know, kind of as you do. So in the background here, let me I forgot to go pick up Jay's new teams here. Now, if you're wondering why the whole network thing is significant, I think I've mentioned this several times before, but just for the sake of anybody who doesn't know, when it comes to Formula Front, it's meant to be sequential fights. So like, one AC gets worn down, it fights the next one who's a completely full, all that kind of thing, and that's why they're built in a team format. So that's what the game's balanced for. It definitely works a lot better than the 1v1 format. So if there was any way I could get that working, I absolutely wanted to. Because, yeah, unfortunately, the only other way is to do this through the PS2 version, which is a little funky when it comes to emulation. However, that might be possible down the road, we'll see. So, as far as new stuff here, yeah, there's there's new teams that Mr. Javelin made here called Regal. I think it's supposed to be the different spelling of Regal here. Huh. Anywho, they would overwrite some of the ones that we currently have in place. Let's go over here. Over to the memory stick, get them overwritten. I probably should have done this beforehand, but you know, you do as you do. Hopefully it isn't too loud. That was one of the things I was a little bit worried about earlier. Because yeah, a lot of sound stuff has been kind of shuffled around, moved around, and all that kind of business. There we go. Yeah, replace some files in the destination, and let's go ahead and get this thing started. So, to get them started off here, let's see. We're gonna be doing Jay Savage again, just so you know. We are gonna beat those things. So let's go ahead and start off with a Hyperion. Start off with something nice and tanky. And all right, let's go ahead and get going here. So we'll start off with what were we on last time? Well, the idea was to beat all of them. So we'll start off with Jay Savage 1 here. I think I figured out what it is with what I thought was the AI bug last time, because it turns out that yeah, there's a bit of funkiness when it comes to certain speeds and certain weapons. So it's still kind of testing that, but when it comes to stuff like the spread bazooka build and stuff like that, it looks like there was a little bit more to it. So the Hyperion got rebuilt a little bit. Again, please let me know if the sound is all jacked up right now. So yeah, when it comes to the Hyperion, it was last time its issue was that it was draining a bit too much. So I fixed its drain a little bit, I upped its cooling a little bit, and I upped its defense a little bit. Sacrificed a little bit in terms of energy defense, but so far seems pretty solid there. So there we go. Let's do another one. Because, yeah, the goal was to make a team that would functionally be able to go in and beat all of them. And once I get that 5v5 working, hell, if I have to go get the PS2 version functional, figure out how to get that emulating without lag, figure out how to get all of these teams remade piece by piece, for that one, I will friggin' do it. But that's an eventually type situation. Now, as before, I'm sticking to that same rule set of not going for any meta builds, so no... I've decided to simplify the rules a little bit, since they were a little bit confusing, so... Functionally speaking, what they are at this point is they're... I'll wait till the orbits are done, because they're way too loud. Alright, anyway, so can't take Ah, that's what's going on. It's just getting spammed with missiles, so it's burning. Okay, makes sense. Wait for those orbits to be done again. Oh, that was close. Okay, that was super close, but it just barely edged it out. It's okay. General rules for this whole thing. Judging by the fact that some folks just ran away, I'm gonna assume that the sound needs to be fixed. So there we go. Yeah, if I had access to, or rather had some background knowledge on how to do the hex codes for this, I would find a way to turn down the volume for those friggin' orbits, because man, they're just so loud by comparison. Anyway, so general rules for this, yeah, no double, or just no BPs, period, at least from my end. I know that some of his are going to be using them, but whatever. Personal rule set is just, yeah, no inside napalms, no BPs, no LX cannon on a tank, and I'll just go ahead and leave it at that, just to try to simplify things. Because one thing that got brought up a couple times last time is just the fact that it got a little bit too complicated. So, okay. So we'll just leave the rule set there. Originally had banned Sawas under certain situations, but then it's kind of weird to draw that line. Alright, so I believe that one was maybe the one that gave us issues last time. Either way, seems like the upgraded Hyperion's doing a pretty solid job here. The way that its firing pattern is set up, it's got inside rockets, not napalms, just for the record there, but it's got two that'll track well, it's got one that'll track maybe, and one that doesn't track at all, so it's basically covering an entire area in 5 shots. And all of them tend to hit pretty well. Main weakness is missiles, even though it can still resist them to some degree, as you saw earlier. It was still able to just barely edge that out. But it's kind of like a hedging bet sniper tank of sorts. Because if the thing moves, then they'll end up getting hit by the most damage. If they end up not moving, they'll usually end up getting hit by the Selenas, especially at close range. And if they end up just moving slowly, they might end up, or reversing, they'll get hit by the rockets. So, there we go. There's the first team almost wiped. Yeah, each of these, by the way, should, I would expect, be able to carry the team pretty freaking far. The upgraded organ gun now is set up to attack from a lot of different angles in a lot of different ways. The upgraded get off my lawn should be a lot more sturdy, a lot more consistent with how it does things. I think part of the issue last time was that I was going for a defensive build, which makes them a little bit less likely to use their EOs. So that was kind of the issue there. They seem to prefer to use them at a far closer range. Now, alright, this guy's playing it pretty smart here. Just going in, dodging all the shots. So he's probably not going to take many Fenrir hits, though any that do get through are definitely going to make a big dent here. But they're both going to be low on Sawa shots, and if it comes down to small missiles and a Selena, my money would still be on the Selena tank. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the Fenrir is gone. Alright, 2 more shots on that thing. Yeah, so now it just comes down to small missiles versus, versus Selena, really. So let's see what happens here. Oh, I forgot to actually check what, somebody had a copyright issue with this music list last time. I forgot to check what that was. But yeah, so they can almost entirely ignore those missiles. The nice thing about these particular extensions is that they'll usually get rid of most things, and they're relatively cheap energy-wise. So, usually, like, if there's an entire swarm of missiles, it'll get all but one of them off. It's like, you can pretty consistently see here, if there's a bunch, usually one still hits, the rest get deflected. Like, I think the main difference between this and the other one is that the other one is guaranteed to deflect them away, while this one just sort of kind of messes up their tracking a little bit. Hello there, Mr. Javelins. So yeah, I went ahead and remade the teams a good bit. Didn't end up going for what I was going for, what I was joking about doing, so the whole Twisted Metal builds thing. We'll do that for fun later. But, yeah, it seems like that whole 5v5 thing might be possible. So you gotta do something so it'll be back to Fenrir. Okay. Well, right now we're just redoing those early teams that got beaten last time. So yeah, right now he doesn't have any backups, unless that's a pistol in his hand, is that? Yeah, he does have a pistol, so A Wraith might be able to pull this back. It all depends entirely on whether he's going to continue staying far away or try to close in with that thing. Because right now it's pretty friggin' close, and I'm pretty sure he would need about 3 small missiles hitting past all these defenses here to be able to do it. Now I'm saying all these defenses because it's got the first layer with just deflecting them outright. It's got the second layer with just knowing how to dodge, and then the third layer for the actual defense. So yeah, it looks like he's going to go ahead and win it just by technicality. So there we go. Oh, he tried to go in with a pistol at the last second, but it was too late. Okay. So there we go. That is the first team gone. Now Jay Savage too. We'll go ahead and save it here. Now, one more theory that came to mind as far as that whole AI switching dealy is I was also going and saving them while I was mid-menu there. So I think actually quick saving it on the different menu might be enough to solve that little issue. So we'll see. But yeah, I think that the new and improved Hyperion should be just defensive enough to survive most things. Not a good time to break out the Selenas. It might run into charging here with all that missile spam. Thankfully, that thing's only got 10 shots, and it only takes one little charge from those shoulders to get rid of those micros. It can't deflect all of them. Looks like it can cap out at maybe 4 or 5 of them. But still, it's just enough to make them almost negligible in terms of how much they hit. It's nice. It's a nice little situation there. And I've also decided I'm just going to stick to that same map. I really like the Grand Arena. I think it's just, well, the best map that there is in this game, quite frankly. As much as I love the other ones, one side or the other can get AI screwed. This is the only one that is completely fair to both sides. So there we go. Let's go ahead and continue on here. They start off just far away enough that instant shots, you know, have a decent chance to be evaded. I'm gonna be quiet now because orbits are happening. I believe this is the one that caused us a whole bunch of grief last time. There we go, just barely, but he makes it. Just barely. Alright. So let's go ahead and continue on, as you do. Alright, that one I'm pretty sure it didn't cause any issues. Plus, this one should be almost a hard counter to it in every way. Would definitely expect it to be a counter. I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit. Again, if anyone has anything to mention as far as volume goes, please go ahead and bring it up. Just because it's always hard to tell. All the little meters on my end are very misleading. Alright, so most of those are getting through. It's only getting... It looks like maybe, yeah, about 2 or 3 of them are actually getting deflected. But yeah, the Periton would not be the answer there. So far, so alright. And this right here is one of those things that the 5v5 format would not allow, by the way. Because this tank would be out of ammo, generally speaking, within the first 1 or 2 rounds. Unless it got really, really lucky, it would end up going into another fight with like 2 or 3 shots. They only get 10% of their ammo back between rounds. So if there's any AC that's just absolutely dominating, then you know, they usually tended to do pretty dang well. Or if they're dominating, they usually tended to be moved out of the way within 1 or 2 rounds. It's rare that you saw something win 3 rounds in a row, which is what, you know, the whole point of the format, because it kind of countered the AI's overall dumbness pretty well. So there we go. Beautiful. There's another one, and I think we will continue sweeping up here with the Hyperion. I would say... See, the thing is, it's riding the meta, but technically speaking, it's not really doing anything any other leg type can't do. This is why I was saying the LX on a tank is banned, but the LX on a quad is not. Just because, you know, a quad has to land, has to aim, has to fire. A railgun would simply end up being better for a quad, but I'm sure somebody could come up with some creative build for it. whereas a tank with an LX just flies around and deletes things, so it's kind of the thing. And if it was player versus player, it would still be a bit of a choice. You know, they potentially, they could risk going for those 10 shots of high damage. They might want to go for something a bit more utilitarian most of the time. Just goes entirely for what they're going for. But as has been mentioned a bunch of times, the AI is simply too dumb to dodge, so we'll do as we'll do. There we go, we'll go for this one here. And like I said, I'm confident in this team kind of sweeping through them this time. We'll see how it goes. And so far, no losses. And that's the thing here, that this thing is made, well, it was adjusted, rather, to pretty much try and counter the kind of things that he goes for here. Because he goes for defensive, high-damage builds. So they're staying far away, they're putting out a lot of hits, but all that needs to be done in order to make a proper defensive build is to blunt whatever's coming in. It doesn't have to stop it entirely. Like right here, he's going for the napalms, but he's too far away for them to be effective, so he's wasting a lot of them. In general, the Fenrir is pretty good for winning a DPS race at long distance. Like in this case, the railgun's gonna end up beating the Sawa because, again, it's just better distance here. Looks like they decided to get in close for some reason, not gonna complain about that. Hello there, Pixie Sophie. How's it going? Oh, and it looks like this might be the Hyperion's first loss here, because he took that napalm. Alright, yeah, it looks like he's almost definitely done. So yeah, the Hydra does counter him pretty darn well. But that's alright. That's his first one, considering he just went through, what is this? He went through 9 ACs just on his own. I think that'll work out pretty alright. So, next one I want to see here will be the organ gun. Or do I want the Ralthor? Yeah, I actually never introduced them last time. So yeah, the Ralthor is, if anyone here ever listens to Glory Hammer, yeah, it's a flying nuclear submarine, just don't question it. The Silent Line was just redone to have better cooling. The Hyperion went for better cooling, kind of lighter missile defenses, but it's all set up to try to have a bunch of layers of defense to try to survive things a bit better. The organ gun is set up to try and attack in different ways from last time, so we'll go ahead and do we want to put him in yet? Yeah, we'll put him in now. And then it was the last one, right? Yeah, stronger. So there we go. And yeah, we are doing a good bit better than last time. So yeah, by the way, your Pixie Sophie, your character in X-Div, turns out, yeah, they actually made it. I accidentally made 2 of them. One of them's still alive. But yeah, no, both of them went on a kind of ridiculous base raid, and surprisingly, the one that took a giant fireball to the face survived, whereas the other one that's basically saved the mission didn't. Alright, so he's doing a good job countering the missiles here. Wasted a good bit of his Wyvern shots. But here's where this one comes into its own, and why it still sticks to the same theme it originally did. Lots of EOs, lots of orbits, starts off with the finger, starts off with the, is it the Griffin or the Wyvern? I think it's the Wyvern. Anyway, fires a hell of a lot of shots from a lot of different angles, and it just works really well in a lot of situations. So there we go. He's going to go ahead and win that one. And that's going to be J Savage 2 done. Alright, so now we move on to J Savage 3. Alright, organ gun's in there. Shikuijo is going to be the next one. Now, funnily enough, I was watching this little bit the other day over just kind of late World War II aircraft development and all that kind of thing. And I gotta say, it was really interesting. That's so there's this whole, legend and whatever else as far as when it came to the Pacific side of things. As far as the Zero and all that, the whole thing like, oh man, it was just faster and everything. And funnily enough, well, I guess it was anything but funny for the folks involved, but there were a bunch of memos that were going back and forth for months. Hell, even for years. Aw, it looks like this guy's getting overwhelmed. Well, that's a shame. Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and eat it right there. It's alright, we'll get the next one in here. But anyway, so yeah, there were basically years of memos going back and forth, in which all these guys keep writing back on the US side. Like, okay, look, you know, this thing, generally speaking, you keep training people for dogfights and then putting them in a thing that's better at dogfighting. It's like, here's a bunch of other things you should be training them for, and also, can we get better planes, please? And so they just kept getting responses over and over of just like, no, stop dying, it's fine, don't worry about it, you're just doing it wrong or something. Just, like, how frustrating was that have been, I wonder. But, anywho, ultimately they ended up figuring it out, because they're like, okay, we have technically bulkier planes, so if we just find a way to make everybody charge them head-on, they'll do better. I mean, granted, casualties were still ridiculous, but still, you know, ultimately they figured it out. Must have been annoying as hell, though. And yeah, we have that same thing with the spread bazooka here, though. After studying it a little bit, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that this quad's able to hold its speed a bit better, is what that ultimately results in. Now, as far as the lawn defender here, it's been a bit reworked since last time as well. To try to be a little bit slower, but a bit bulkier. With the idea being that it tries to outlast anything like the spread bazooka in this instance. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think the spready's out right now. If he just gets a little bit closer, gets lucky with those shots, he can still pull this off. Yeah, if he got a little bit luckier with the shots, he was very close there. That's fine. So the next one would be the silent line here. Actually, hell, I kind of want to try out the Ralathor versus this. And yeah, I don't know if that name actually refers to anything. It's just this ridiculous part of, I think 3 of their songs, in which there's some guy that's just some random nobody in the background for a good bit of this story, and then finally out of nowhere he's like, okay, I'm gonna go warn everybody about the impending apocalypse. Also, then I'm gonna go to an alternate universe. Also, I'm gonna be, you know, getting a bunch of crazy submarines. Then just hang out under the water. Oh wait, we need to go into space. Okay, I guess we'll go into space then in our submarines. And then yeah, ends up nuking a bunch of stuff. But it's a weird story. Let's put it that way. All right, come on. Just might do it. He's absurdly dodgy, as you can probably tell. Yeah, there we go. Just, but he got him. And alright, so for the record right now, we have Ralathor, Saline, and Hyperion left for this particular fight. Or for this particular team. And we'll go ahead and go here. And yeah, I'm happy with how this one turned out. Because he is really, really dodgy. Like, anything missile related, this dude is all over the dang place. Builds like this he's not very good against, but we'll see how it goes. He's generally fast enough to avoid a lot of shots. And thankfully, because he moves around so much, sometimes the AI, well, it gets out of range of its decoys. But as per usual, the kind of big issue with missile builds here is the fact that they don't know their missile builds. So they're looking at those decoys and they don't understand what to do. Although, he does seem to understand to use stealth missiles here, even if it's going to be a little bit too late for him. Unfortunately. Alright, moving on to the next one here. Let's get the sound line in. And that was Zelgrid, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was. Alrighty, and away we go. Not sure how long it'll be till Mr. Javelin comes back, but I guess we'll see him when we see him. So in about 20 minutes ago, yeah, we're looking at that clock exactly, good sir. We're looking at that thing exactly. Alright. Zap, zap, zap. Yeah, the sound line at this point is kind of like the almost suckier cousin of the Hyperion. Very similar build, it's just, I don't know, a bit less beefy. On the plus side, though, I did realize a couple really stupid things. Apparently, I actually forgot to tune his arms last time, so his cooling was significantly lower than it should have been. So there we go. Also, for those kind of unaware of some of the weird things you end up noticing while playing this particular version of AC, yeah, for some bizarre reason, these legs in particular just have, well, absurdly high turn radius, or absurdly high turn speed, sorry. No idea why, they just sort of do. Just like, because these ones will be super fast, why not? Why? Don't question it, it's fine. yeah, I said it before, say it again. If anybody here happens to speak Japanese, please let me know so we can decipher what those messages on that menu said. Because I don't know how to take that picture and put it in Google Translate. It's probably something like, you know, the network, or there's no connection with which things can exist or something, I don't know. Anyway, wow, this guy's getting shredded. And let's see, I've not seen any decoys, so that might have been a decoy guy. Alright, that was Yoga, then we got Ziggy. Let's see what Ziggy does. Ziggy does, Ziggy do. Alright, we got linear arms, potentially very dangerous here. Okay, that's possibly survivable. No, he switched over to heat. He can only take a couple shots of that before it's all over. Alright, there we go, though. He's using those extensions. It's keeping him in the game for now. Alright, cool off, recover. He's got a pretty decent lock speed on this FCS. It's just he's getting battered around like crazy. There we go. And another one bites the dang dust. And yeah, we'll given how fast we're going through these, I'm expecting we'll get to the adieu run much quicker today. You know, we'll do as we do. One suggestion I did receive that I think is probably a pretty solid idea is just to do kind of one team, one attempt through whatever the gauntlet is of the day, and then whenever they bite it, that's when we move on to AC3. But we'll see. If I can get that PS2 version working, that might be something interesting. Ah, those filthy, filthy napalms. Man. It's funny because I saw this discussion a bit over a year ago. It was kind of discussing the overall meta, you know, how broken napalms are and that kind of thing. And I saw somebody trying to make an argument for like, oh, you can just max out your cooling and then they're not much of a threat. It's like, they are never, even with absolutely maximum cooling, they are never not much of a threat. That's the scary part about them. Alright, there we go. There's J Savage 3 done. Now we move on to 4 out of 7. Alright, so we got Admiral Bayne. More than likely this is going to be the one that does a lot of wipage. So, let's see. Who are we starting the gauntlet off this time? I think we'll go ahead and start with Ralathor. Because if that's going to be a tank, then it's gonna be pretty weak to missiles. So, if that's how we're going to do it, that's how we're going to do it. You know, I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't been hearing more rattles off in the background. Yesterday we went to this community event, and yeah, they had a bunch of free rattles they were giving away to kids. Or maracas, rather. Oh my sweet goodness. Yeah, the LX is only slightly completely broken. Jeez. What the hell did he just hit him with? I think he just hit him with the Fenrir and the LX at the same time. Well, that's filthy as hell. Alright. Next one, then. Guess we'll be going for the Hyperion. It might be able to survive that kind of onslaught. It's just, yeah, the LX on tank is banned for a reason. But I think we can work around it. Alright, so. This is kind of situational. Because, yeah, unfortunately both the heat, heat damage, everything off the LX is insane. However, this thing is set up to be very defensive. Unfortunately, that ain't doing jack for the fact that it's not dodging anywhere. Okay. Well, there's another one dead. Let's move on to the next one here. Organ Gun, I'm pretty sure will get wiped. Did the Silent Line already fight? I don't think so. I don't see the Silent Line winning here, but I do see Lawn Defender possibly making some progress. Problem is they gotta get close, and the AI is just super inconsistent about that kind of stuff. I mean, the kinds of workarounds you gotta do to get a super consistent close ranger are iffy, to say the least, not to mention this is another problem with the LX, because they will always just charge right ahead. It's, well, as you can see here, his friggin' AI has completely broken. Alright. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. But yeah, so what I was trying to say. So first shot, as soon as it hits, it tends to overheat. Second shot tends to shut them down entirely, and this is ignoring the fact that all their AP is basically gone at that point. By the time the third one hits, their AI has already usually abandoned whatever it was planning to do. Because there does seem to be a function in there that says, okay, I've taken X amount of damage, you know, there's a lot of stuff going up on the graphs right now, so I should probably make some different decision here. At which point, they will usually turn around and say, okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and run now, and then usually at that point they break, because I think they're supposed to have more of a script there? Like, it always feels like they decide to run, they decide to stay at a distance, but then they don't do anything. They usually just completely go brain dead at that point. Do I think this one can win it? No. It would be very situational for it to be able to pull this off. And yeah, as soon as one hits, it's probably toast. There is a theoretical scenario in which it could, if it throws out a bunch of pods and just winds up right on its sides, but yeah, that's already not likely here. Because the AI doesn't know what to do. Hello there, Mr. Javelin. Yeah, you're usually back just on time to see stuff go awry here. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get Team 3 started. So, alright, at the moment, or actually not Team 3, it's Team 4 that we're on. So yeah, teams 1 through 3, no problem whatsoever. Then we get to this guy, as expected. So alright. So here's the team this time around. We got a basically a nuclear missile boat. We got a upgraded version of the Silent Line, because it turns out I forgot to tune some stuff on it last time. We got the Hyperion, it's basically a laser plink tank, meant to be really defensive. The organ gun got redone to be more of a three-dimensional type situation, and then the Lawn Defender, which is just an upgrade of the previous versions of these. So right now, the current situation is that, yeah, LX tank is a bit of a thing. So let's go ahead and run a few more tests here to see what happens. Because realistically speaking, anything that charges forward here, it's not going to happen. In fact, on this map, I don't see anyone really getting it. Because he gets that immediate shot off. Usually that misses, but usually somewhere within the first 3 shots, something will hit. So like right there, the Fenrir and the LX will cause him to be down to 2000 AP already. And then that second shot, he's just wiped. So, again, banned for a reason. So we'll move on to the next one here. So, as far as the Lawn Defender, it also did... Like, at this point, this team's lost. We're basically just reevaluating what happened against this guy. So for this one, again, he's one that charges forward. First shot puts him in a critical. Second shot completely shuts him down. And basically at that point, the AI decides to retreat, and it doesn't have any script for retreating, so it just breaks. So he'll take that first shot. Second shot disables. And at this point it decides, okay, I'm not going to charge anymore, and then it gets stuck. So it doesn't really know what to do, it's just going to sit here taking hits over and over, as you do. So then we move on to the next one. So with the organ gun, it potentially had a bit more of a chance because it's hopping around a good bit. Now the reason that this one went down is simply because it's not meant to be fighting an LX tank, because why the hell would you make anything meant for fighting that? Because the main counter to the LX tank is napalms. Like, that's just its main counter, which we can't technically use. So that would mean we'd need a flamethrower build, which, yeah, I guess we can probably just replace the Silent Line with a flamethrower build, actually. Would be kind of an 11th hour change, but, you know, why not? See, in theory, this build could do it. Because they would need to get into some sort of cover in that general area. They would need to take less than 2 hits getting up to that point, and then they would just need to keep popping up orbits, and, well, at that point, it's the usual issues that you see when a player uses an LX tank, in which it turns out that, yeah, that sucker's not very maneuverable. So yeah, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and replace the Silent Line with a flamethrower build. Seems like a pretty solid choice. So yeah, heat is always going to be the enemy of those guys. Now, part of the issue now, in this particular instance, actually we should go for a grenade build. That would be a really solid counter. Now you might think, okay, you know, lefty napalms, those are technically allowed. What about those? No. Just no. they're really, really inaccurate, so that's kind of the problem there. Alright, so, if we do this one, what is the highest attack heat we can get? So we can get the Ogre 2. Now, what's the highest attack heat we can get on this side? The BP, which is banned with its... Wow. 7,000 heat damage, that's more than the flamethrower. But, alright. So, let's put that there. Probably put the grenade right here. And we'll see how this one does. Probably slap some pistols on it, just to give it a little bit more of a fighting chance whenever it inevitably runs out of these shots. And set its AI tune for kind of a close range type setup, but make it a bit more varied, make it a bit more dashy, make it a bit more jumpy. And we're going to set it to be kind of middle of the road here. So let's see how this does as a counter, because there has to be a non-meta counter to that build. And if there was one, I would imagine this would be it. So let's give it a go. And by the way, Mr. Javelins, what I've decided to do for this time around is to... By the way, this hasn't been muted the whole time, has it? Okay, so what I've decided to do this time around is basically to... completely lose my train of thought, apparently. Yeah, even with all of those, yeah, all of this is still not matching the LX in terms of just sheer heat output. That's really something. Okay, let's go ahead and compare. What is the heat output of that of the vaporizer cannon? All right, what do we got here? So the LX does 22,500 heat damage. For reference, a flamethrower does 3,000. The Ogre 2, I believe, is second place on that with 13,100. This one does, looks like 7,000. So how can we up that a little bit? Because, I mean, again, BPs and Napalms are the main counter to it, which unfortunately they're a counter to friggin' everything else. So there's that. Okay, so we got the Fenrir. We can go for the Fenrir, and we can go for different optional parts. It occurred to me that I actually have not slapped those on there. So condenser cap, not as important. Okay, no, he does have attack power. He would need reload time though. He'd have to sacrifice some stuff for that. So if we lower gen cap, we improve reload time, and then what else can we do to improve here? Unfortunately, this guy doesn't have the codone because it's just not what he's set up for. What can we sacrifice for that? If we get rid of cooling, it's going to put him in some real dangerous spots here, but it might be what he needs. But if we get rid of reload time, then gotta go for the codone. You can never not have the codone, is the thing. So alright, let's see how that does. And then we'll go ahead and continue on with the gauntlet here. As you do. We'll run another test here. Alright. Having a bit of energy issues. Yeah, even with all these, he's having a hard time keeping up. Because functionally what this comes down to is still Ogre versus, Ogre versus, friggin' LX. Because he's also got the Fenrir on there. Went for double Fenrirs, that might be another potential option, but it's probably going to be too heavy, not to mention I have the Fenrir on the other guy. Okay, so what else has a ton of attack heat, then? Because I don't think anything else is even going to compare. Alright, well, we've got that. We can go ahead and give this a go. Guess I kind of didn't have the grenade cannon on there. Alright, how do we do? So, okay, he's getting a little bit in there. He's getting a little overflow heat damage, but he's not getting a full overheat. I'll have to check the bars after this to see how he's doing. Alright. Then we're going back to the original plan. See, because here's the thing. When you have a gigantic thing that you can barely even hurt, generally speaking, there's always going to be some weird technicality that takes it out. So the mentality behind the flamethrower build is very similar to if you've ever seen how honeybees fight those friggin' scary as crap gigantic hornets. So if you've never seen a video of this, generally speaking, what they do is, yeah, the honeybees, they can try to sting that friggin' thing all they want. I'm talking about those hornets that are like friggin' yay big, like just those gigantic freaky as crap things. And yeah, they can go in and they can kill hundreds, if not thousands, of honeybees at one time. It just doesn't matter to them. It's just a Tuesday for them. They do as they do. So, how they fight it, though, is that they literally just surround it. They will attach themselves over and over and over and just vibrate. And, yeah, they just pretty much roast the thing by doing so. So the idea is that they can withstand a much higher temperature than this gigantic hornet can. And, that's really about all she wrote on that matter. They cook the thing alive, and it's pretty cool looking if you ever watch it. All right, yeah, floating mines might backfire. Thinking rockets might help here. Because this thing would get hard stopped by a missile build. That's why he still has decoys. All right, let's just see how he performs first of all. So, base character, go for short range. Definitely go for full attack here. Wait, did I actually change it? No. There we go. Update it right there. Performance-wise, yeah, probably alright. And let's give it a go. Let's see how this thing handles a flamethrower build. A Bernie boy, as you do. Go to Regal and work our way down? Nah, we're doing this. We are doing this. Why he's not running forward right now is anyone's guess. That was an interesting choice. Alright, maybe it's time to go full honeybee on this. Alright, first of all, that head was picked just for looks, so we'll go for this. Get a nice tracking and everything else. Now we want maximum energy defense, because what I want is to have a reliable anti-energy build anyway, so we're going to make this work. So Uranus is a pretty solid weapon. Swear to God, there has to be a better phrasing for that. Alright. What is the maximum energy defense we can have? Yeah, so this is pretty alright. This thing's going to look absolutely janky. Best energy defense we can have while charging forward. Excellent cooling. It's a quad. Yeah, that sounds pretty alright. Arms overweight doesn't even matter with this stupid thing, because it doesn't need to really aim. Okay. So get rid of that. About 1,000 overweight at the moment, so we'll deal with those arms a little bit. Because we're about to be even more overweight, because I want this thing to be fast as crap. So, there we go. This thing is literally just going to be a hornet, so... Energy defense. Somehow that's even heavier than the heavier weights, whatever you say. Alright, we got 489 off this bad boy, we got 531 off the lemurs. That's probably a pretty solid choice, but I think still this, because it's got really good cooling. Alright, let's go to part tunes here. Maximum coolage. So we want cooling and energy defense. Now, how overweight are we? About way too much is how overweight we are. So, let's see. We're gonna need a different generator first of all. This one's pretty alright on weight. We're gonna want something that doesn't focus too much on that. G91 will do the job. Something with low heat, so the birdie is an obvious choice. Somehow we got even more overweight from that, that's fine. These things are 1120. I mean, if we take those off, okay. If we take them off, we're pretty solid here. This thing needs a new paint job. So first of all, we're going to make this thing look like a honeybee. get that next one pulled up and see what we do. Let's check this performance. See what we find out. Alright, so it loses about 1,000. Would be good for it not to have the EO, actually. Because it needs to, for lack of a better term, not be brain dead. Because it needs to just charge in, do its whole Bernie thing. I wish that they hadn't included that feature, the whole threat feature, where it's like, oh crap, I'm a robot, but I can panic, so it just turns around and runs away. I need to find a way to get around that, basically. So, this thing, I don't expect it to fight missiles, so I'm going to get rid of that whatsoever. Or, get rid of that whatsoever. Thanks, Brain. Probably the Jiren would be a more solid choice here, because it just needs to recover out of an overheat. Plus, they look like little wings, so that's pretty cool. Got 400 spare weight, that's fine. Now, I need a core that'll give me decent energy defense while giving me better cooling. It seems like this would be a perfect candidate. We're dropping about... Ooh, that'll probably do it best, though. Yeah, Cronus is probably the best. Right. Lock on cancellation pulses, that might help. Gen cap would be a bit of a downside here. Sight lock doesn't matter. Turning ability, yes. Missile ability, yes, just in case it needs it. Radar, sure. Cooling, yes. Versus FCS, absolutely. We'll improve the sight lock just in case it ends up helping. Actually, no, we won't. We're going to improve stability. And let's see. Need something for good measure. I doubt that those things are classified as energy shields for any particular reason, but whatever, it's there. Okay, we need to get rid of enemy terrain. Actually, no, we need to go for attack. Attack and search. Maybe that would sort out the problems here. Alright, where is straightforward at? Alright, let's do this thing. And then once we have a solid flamethrower build, I believe we should have all bases covered in terms of having an all-rounded team. There we go. Don't... Okay. It's in the chip's name. What part of ahead do you not understand exactly? Because you would be up in his face. You'd be burninating him. You wouldn't have any chance anymore if you just moved forward, you dingus. There we go. See, as long as they get close, that's the thing. It's long been the joke, but man, those chips are just super unreliable. That would take a while? Not at all, not at all. See, the thing is, once this gets close, and you can actually see a bunch of builds like this in, what's it, over here? If you go for the secondary arena, I forget exactly how all that goes. Let me see if I can find him. There was a really good example for one of them here. The one that had that some kind of like Hindi thing going on. Just a sec. These are all old tournament builds, by the way. As you can see, good bit of BPs, good bit of weird stuff going on there. Some lightweights make no sense, lots of bazookas, lots of laser arms and dual salvos and all that kind of filthiness. Like right here, you got a nice happy flamethrower tank, which is probably a good way to get around the panic factor. Go to chips and use them? No, I'm not gonna do that. All right. And here's the one that was, well, one of them that I was talking about. I mean, there's a lot of different chips that do a lot of different things. Just because they say they do a thing doesn't mean they do that thing, necessarily. I just want to see a flamethrower fight right now. But yeah, this was one of those tournament builds. It's not the one that I was specifically looking for, because there's one that's like a reverse join as some kind of name in Hindi or some such. But these are specifically always made as a hard counter to energy tanks. But more than likely, if I were to come up with a proper counter to that tank, it would just be putting the corals on the Get Off My Lawn, or the Lawn Defender as it's currently known. Just because rather than scatter mines, those would usually end up doing a better job of shutting something down before it got close. Anywho, love that emblem though, the like the bunny eating fire carrier. That's so cool. There's some really cool stuff in the League matches. Now, yeah, let's go to those chips. So yeah, the one that you're referring to was this one right here. Just pull ahead. That's the thing. I did this last time. It doesn't always do it. So like just like the zigzag there, it's whatever the AI feels like doing most of the time. And for this one, this map would be a good bit farther. Well, once we continue on with the actual gauntlet, we'll be going back to the arena. Make your 5 teams so that you and I can face off against Brocows. But I already did that. I already did that last year. See, like even here, he's still deciding to strafe instead of anything else. It's just whatever the AI feels like doing. It's like, if he were to, at any point here, go forward and just dual flamethrower him, that'd be it. That's the end of the fight. That's all it would take to beat this thing. But he's deciding to keep trying to go for these defensive maneuvers, and that doesn't make any frickin' sense, because he doesn't do defensive maneuvers when it would actually help him. Alright, so, getting rid of those chips, because them suckers are unreliable as hell, so we're going to make it work some other way. So, those ones, not so much. However, if you go for something like a parry, sometimes that does end up working a bit better. So he doesn't have a parry blade. Let's see what he does with this particular situation. Part of the problem is, again, just that threat factor, the fact that the AI can panic. So we'll go ahead and leave it at that. Also, part of the problem that this thing's having is the fact that its weapons are colored wrong, so we need to fix that problem. It's not doing wonders for morale. There we go. That's looking better. That's looking pretty alright. But anyway, did Cal make a new team or some such? That there's this new team being mentioned so much? Alright, let's go back to the Grand Arena, the best of maps. And actually remember to save state at this time so I don't have to go through the entire menu and all that some suchery. I always use my one for my damage close stages. That's the thing, it's about... It really depends what it is. Like, in this case, it's not that the AI doesn't have the right orders to go forward, it's the fact that it sees a lot of damage coming in, and it's trying to avoid it in the dumbest way possible, because, like you see right there, it's like, okay. It's like, so I get into range, and then what? I guess it's time to strafe to try to get all dodgy and avoid this thing. It's like, no, idiot, get close. If you attack it, it'll die. It's like, no. No, I'm smarter. Look, I've got all the strategies. I'll figure this out. Funny part is, this would be a decent strategy if he's stuck at long range. So that might be another way about this, because the thing effectively only has 20 shots. So I know one thing that would definitely beat this. Let me see if I have it on hand by chance. What I'm looking for is Wussbot. I don't know if it's here. It's this thing that was it Celtic? No. Was it? I forget if it was Celtic Voctor or if it was God, I feel like a douche for not remembering his name right now. They made it a while ago, but this thing was just supposed to be the ultimate in just like running away technology. Yeah, I don't think I have it in here at the moment. But yeah, personally, I just prefer never to really bother with chips unless, well, unless there's another way to do it. Just because there's so many different things that are at play here. Like right now, what I'm kind of seeing as the best way about it is to actually give him a different FCS. Because part of the idea here is more than likely he's looking at this, because at one point he was a snipey AC. But more than likely he's looking at the range of this thing, putting it on average with the weapons in his hand. So if we give him a worse FCS, there's a decent chance that he'll do his job better. So that could be the issue that was causing it. There might be any number of other things, but we'll find out as we'll find out. But yeah, I love how we were just curb stomping the first 3 teams, and then you show up immediately afterwards. I mean, he's getting a little bit closer. The problem is he doesn't really have any lock range here. So the one adjustment that could work here, if we're talking chips, the thing that tends to help more often than the others, and actually we'll have to go get that FCS lowered once again. But the one for circling around the back, that one can work, but sometimes it backfires because it just causes them to run right into their face. So it's kind of a risky one, but again, if we're talking about being an LX tank, pretty much anything's going to be risky. So let's go ahead and nerf this thing into the ground. Probably give him the Volute, just because it's got slightly less range. Alright, and away we go. Let's do this some suchery. Yeah, that could work. And there's that threat factor again. Gets close, but he doesn't want to get too close, even though that would win him the fight. Why are you so scared of them? Get close. You're even modeled after a B for maximum intimidation value. You know you want to give him, just give him a hug, just big old fire hugs. There we go. Alright. What lovely unreliable things here. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna make him into a roaster. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna slap this thing on him. Tell him to use overboost, and he is gonna basically just be forced to get out of his comfort zone. He's focusing and dodging. Yeah, that's the threat factor I was talking about. If an AC takes enough damage, they seem to automatically start attempting dodging, though it's more like just randomly moving around. And so basically, that's what I've been talking about for like an hour here. That as soon as it gets hit by enough damage, they will immediately turn around, and it's one of those things that makes BPs and the LX so much of a threat in this game. Just because, yeah, they do enough that it causes the AI to panic. And as frustrating as that is, you know, it is what it is. So, let's see. Let's get cancellation pulses, give him more stability. And now we're going to tell him to utilize OB. So, these ones right here, they work best with OB. Depending. If you have something that'll run out of energy, there's a very real possibility it'll just cause itself to go into overheat and or just go into charge and die. So yeah, if you get them to use overboost, sometimes you can just get them to launch themselves out of their comfort zone, so to speak. See, hoping AC dodges lasers easy. See, if it was a player, yeah, this would be just super easy to dodge, is the problem. Because it only has 20 shots. Now, the two approaches that I saw going into this were either to make a super dodgy build and hope that worked out. Oh my goodness, you are brain dead! What are you doing? That could work, but he's decided to go for 4 overboosts instead of just 1. Put himself in a charging and overheated himself. But either way, there we go. He's got it. No, stop. Stop overboosting. I mean, I guess he can infinitely do this, can't he? But where are you going? Dude! Get close, you doofus! What are you doing? I mean, great, we've got an infinite overbooster, but still, stop! Stop, are you drunk? What are you doing? Oh boy. Let's see. Hopping isn't jumping instead of dashing. Overboosting is working. Yeah, it does work. I think actually it's just its tendencies that are the problem here. So let's go over to its base character. Let's see if we can make it run a little bit, because what I wanted to do is to get in close. Maybe make it a little bit less random. Yeah, there we go. I mean, it's closer. Overboosting did work. It seems like its boost is just light enough that it's not overheating itself by using it. But if it uses an overboost in the middle of taking an LX shot, it basically roasts itself. Defense and performance is high? No, it's not that. Wow. Okay, so going over the bars real quick as far as what they actually do. So, as far as if you're talking about this, these are kind of more of a check against them screwing up. So, for example, heat and energy are the two that actually give you a full-on bonus. These are the ones that just give you increased performance in those particular categories. They don't make them any better about actually managing anything, because the AI is simply too stupid to manage either of them. So all it does is give you a flat bonus to those stats. When it comes to AC control, this is basically defense against hard landings, trying to defend against emptying out their bars and things like that. Also, hang on, be right back. Alrighty, so back. Let's continue on here. So what I was trying to say is that so their control thing is just them trying to not mess up whenever they're moving. Movement is just their standard maneuvers. So for example, like boost hopping and things like that, instead of like dashing and then flying up or something like that. Weapons appropriation is just them trying to use things at the appropriate range. Now, this one depends. Typically, they were pretty okay about making the right weapons move forward. And then search is just their ability to track things. So these ones, by and large, you pretty much always want all of them maxed out. As far as the whole dodging thing, it's not a defensive thing. It's like right here, he's set up entirely to attack. He has no performance set up for defense here. More than likely, knowledge of enemies is probably going to be a little bit more useful here. That just causes them to approach a little bit better in some cases. It's just, bear in mind, each of these comes with a little bit of an asterisk that functionally can just say, okay, they might just completely not do whatever you tell them to do. So there's that. It's pretty much always like that. Unfortunately, that's one of many weird quirks about this game, and I think probably my favorite one is the fact that several of the weapons are just straight up backwards. I'll get to that in a moment. There we go. So you got him into a full charge. So he can, albeit unreliably, beat this thing. And even then, it seems like it was still able to charge. So, looking at this, let's go ahead and look at the heat ratings here. So yeah, even though his heat went completely off the charts, he still was able to recover out of it. But anyway, so that's alright. We can figure out more ways to make this happen. Now, part of the reason that I don't want to use dodgy builds is just because, again, the AI does not know how to dodge properly. It's even more unreliable than this. So, what do we want to do here? I feel like those might not have been the best choice here. Side shields are technically already in use. Possibly something like this could work. We just give him remoras, maybe. There's one other type of chip that we can use here. We can go for the jump around. So the jump around is probably the best example of one that'll more often than not just kind of sabotage your build. But let's see what happens. Not really sure what he's doing here, but alright. Sweet close range tendency you got there. Yeah, as long as he sticks close to it, though. So I think what we need is less dash tendency. So we're going to go back to the overboost chips. Okay, so the idea here is that we lower their dash tendency, so they hopefully won't try to get away. The idea is that they take that chip, they use it to get in close, and then from there they just stick close the entire time. So we'll see if that does it. Just make them smart by making them dumb. Alright. Going sideways, you complete and utter doofus. Alright. There we go. He's gotten in close. We're starting to get into next level overheats here. There we go. See, that's basically the hit that he needs. So he can beat this one. I feel like we can make that work even better. So what we need, because unfortunately the forward boosters can still launch him sideways. I feel like we need is absolutely less, just no dash. And see if that causes it to work. Alright, and let's make this happen. That took long enough. I'm sorry. Are we boring you with breaking your completely broken build here? If you use cheats, it's almost like it'll make it more difficult and time-consuming or something. Alright, so what we want is more something or other. You know what? Let's go for the spider. I believe it comes with it. Yeah, it comes with what it needs, so... take that off. Yeah, I feel like the spider might be a better head for this particular situation. We still needed to get close. Broken. He's not the king of tanks, dude. He's a complete cheat. That's kind of what's frustrating about it. Like, with all due respect, there is a reason that this build is 100% banned in every possible respect. Like, all it's missing is some extra napalm rockets, just for good measure. But yeah, no, in full fairness, I probably should have put out the ban list before all this, but there's a non-meta way around everything, dang it. One turn in Regulus tournament legal? Alrighty. But yeah, what I want to do is, we're still experimenting here, so what I want to do is find a way to make this consistent. Just to shut off that stupid dodge move that he does. Which is basically what people have been trying to figure out with this game since it first came out. Like, I know a lot of flamethrower builds go reverse joints for that exact reason. They just don't want them to be able to move around as much. But I want to go quads for the turn speed, so... I mean, 2 out of 3, I guess that ain't bad, but, yeah, that's the thing. Double flamethrowers, if they hit, they do something beyond overheat. I just call it an overheat, but, like, it seems to just continuously stack. So after a certain point, it's just, like, hundreds gone per second. It gets pretty nuts. Possibly, Let's see. And if we did this, we'd almost have enough for the Pegasus. But I don't think there's going to be any practical application of that. Am I running on anything on the insides? No. Is there anything we can make use of here? Because yeah, that one of the builds that you can just basically break the entire game with is you just make a napalm rocket, dual flamethrowers. Napalm rocket shuts down from far away, flamethrowers get close, there's just nothing you can do. I think if we did this... Does it mention range anywhere? Not really. And they're all going to have the same firing interval, so I might as well just go for the lightest one. I think he's got to be standing for the burn to be at full effect. Not necessarily. That's why he's made to hop around still. All he has to do is get close. And literally the only thing that prevents the AI from doing that is that panic effect. If that wasn't a thing, these builds would probably be way more broken than they are. And for a time, I even considered banning stuff like this. Like one of the meta builds that's generally banned as well is BP, flamethrower, and put that on a wall build. So like this right here is just terrible. It makes no sense for him to do this, but he's being an idiot. Like, no, let me flank. I'm a flank real good. Like, what are you flanking exactly? You're sitting there and getting shot. Like, no, I'm being all smart and tactical. Don't judge me. Alright, then again, you know, I think you might have had a solid point earlier, though, as far as, let's see if we just make him retarded, if, that'll... Like, forget how to move, forget how to just do anything entirely, let's see what happens. Like, all I want him to do is just face plant into the guy and burn it. As if he had that with shotguns or 3-shot bazooka, would have been effective. Yeah, but in a different way. Alright. But yeah, just so we're seeing that, yeah, he's still trying to do the same thing. He's trying to dodge the LX to some degree. Granted, this is, like, this one is a weird example because it's a total accident. Yeah, you're doing a good job. You get real close there, buddy. You got this. Probably part of the reason that he's trying to turn around right now is because his AI is telling him to get around to the back. He's trying to get around the back, so he's probably going for a flank. Because here's the thing. Full ahead should be the one to go for here. It should be. Sometimes he just won't do it. So, full slide, I mean... We can't go for full slide, see if that does the job. Now, most of the chips there don't tell them to do specific maneuvers. That one might. It's not like he started doing that maneuver when he first ran into it, but it's enough of a thing that it's worth checking. Yeah, that's working well. Yeah, you slowly walk away. You're sure showing him. Alright, put that back up there. Some attack strategy in there, and I think what we want is just put it on stable. Stop, be stupid. See, the only true difficulty I had on one of them from Regal took me an hour to make with the red adjustment. Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're going for. Like, if you're trying to build a very particular thing, you can usually slap it together. You know, and like after a while, you can slap it together in, you know, a minute or two. I mean, most of the 200 AC tournament took me a bit under a week, but it all depends. Like, in this case, the only reason that it's being more time-consuming is because it's trying to basically beat a build that it shouldn't be able to beat. So, you know, stuff's got to get pretty specific. Anything meta-related will need a very specific counter, just kind of specifically tailored for it, which is why we're trying to make a... Well, we're trying to make a headbutt flamethrower, frankly. And them things are annoying to make. Like right here, it's anybody's guess why he's doing this stupid crap. Go forward, you numbnuts. Like, this is one of those things that used to come up all the time when in discussions with Formula Front. It's like, how do I make my AI not stupid? Like, you don't. It is always stupid. You can kind of figure out a way to maybe slightly blunt its stupid. But it is some very next level stupid going on. Alright, so mobility 1's not going to cut it. Mod 1's not going to cut it either. So we can try going for double fire, see if that maybe does it. It doesn't tell him to overboost or anything. So, meh. Because what we want is overboost and then both arms. So, OB double fire, that might do the job. Save your build and let Admiral Bayne face Shunjika. Which one's he? Oh, we might have a winner, actually. No, he's still brain dead. Come on. Dude, just get close. Sweet goodness. It's so stupid he's right there. Just do it. And by the way, again, the reason that I won't tell it to switch over to shotguns or something else, it'll try to keep him in the lockbox, so he'll just sit there and die even easier. And yeah, I'll do that match in just a moment. I want to try something real quick. Alright, first of all, it's got the same range. Why did they always go for that one? Weird. So, I always ended up seeing the combo of both of these used. Its attack power is slightly higher, but generally speaking, you know, the heat's the part that matters, so it's kind of a question why they always went for that. But that's 200 extra weight, and what I want is to test out the Pegasus, because a lot of flamethrower builds did go for the Pegasus, and I'm kind of thinking maybe it'll almost definitely just overheat him real good, but let's see what we can set up here. Alright, so if we set this one up for max leg weight, can we just barely get out? We could be a few overweight. So let's see, how much cooling are we sacrificing here? We're sacrificing about 200 cooling to make that happen. It would be very, very close. You know, it's worth a shot. Let's give it a little bit of a look. Yeah, that's the best booster heat we're gonna get. And then we're gonna go ahead and take away some of this energy cap, and there we go. So let's go ahead and test it out. Basically, what I wanted to test here is if this would, the way that the AI identifies itself, I wanted to see if this would cause the AI to think, like, okay, I'm faster, I can get in closer, I can get my damage in before anything else. Maybe it'll do it. You can imagine if your iconic build was a close range type. Well, that's the thing with Formula Front, there's no iconic builds, there's an entire team, which is why the single player of it makes 0 sense. Alright, doesn't look like we're getting much out of this. You want to attack? It's decided that it's... Okay, we had the ammo glitch that time around. Yes, retry it because that was the ammo glitch. If you've never seen that before, it's where they suddenly decide their weapon has no ammo and they refuse to fire it. I mean, Starch Knight is kind of a close-range build. It's kind of an all-range build, really. It's just that it's very manual. Oh my sweet, sweet goodness, this is something else. Okay, hang on. One more idea I want to try. So first off, go back to the other ones. Yeah, ECMs are very effective for this thing. These are most certainly not. Yeah, let's put dash up a little bit more. Turn up a little more. Just all of this all over the place. Ultra short range. Try to go for more of a terrain type situation. Yeah, we'll just go for Bullet Rain. Because that's another one that's very, very specific. That also tends to work pretty well for flamethrower builds, so we'll give this a shot, and then we'll do that fight. Now, again, most of them, all they really do is they say, okay, prioritize these particular types of actions, and that's what that little grid is. It just tells you which slots to prioritize. What some of these do, like Bullet Rain here, is that it tells them to stick within a particular parameter around a particular unit. So this one should do the job a little bit better, maybe. Alright. Alright, so this one can do it. What it needs is those extensions. And then we should be solid. Max cooling. Alright. Yes, that does seem to be the chip to do it. Truth be told, I kind of forgot about Bullet Rain. Despite it being pretty friggin' reliable. What can you do? What can you do? Alright. There we go. That'll just give him a few little quick boosts to get closer. He'll go ahead and roastify from the sky. That should shut down the LX almost immediately. Now he's going to go ahead and over-roast it. That'll do the job. I think we got a winner here. Unless he does that. You want to get close, or what the hell are you doing? Okay, I need to take away some of his dash tendency. Because I think that might be what's causing him to move so far away. Needs a little bit more tuning, but yeah. I think it's about as good as we're gonna get for this quad here. At least he mostly does his job. His literal main issue right now is just he's too fast, so it's like, oh yeah, check out all my moves! Look at me going to the other side of the map. It's like, no, dingus, get close! Come on, boy. That's a bad puppy. Yeah, just, stick close, stop showing off. It's like if somebody made a follow-up to Top Gun, except it was all entirely his teacher the entire time. Like, oh my god, stop, everyone's gonna get killed because of you. Yeah, he's doing well, he can't stop showing off. So what we need is a slight adjustment. I think we need to make him a little tankier, maybe. Come on, be a good little honeybee type situation. Stop running away. There is nothing in your AI telling you to run away. Alright, we're gonna adjust him a little bit. There's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give him the big old chonky legs. Something to give him a little bit more cooling, at least. Is there anything even remotely close? Not really. Cooling-wise, I don't think we're going to do anything better on... Well... I mean, that'll do it. It's going to make his defense a little bit sucktastic. Can go for these ones. Arms over weight doesn't matter too much in this instance. We'd have to get rid of the forward boosters. That's a nice hefty boost to cooling, though. let's do this. We're gonna up his energy drain. We're gonna up his forced cooling a little bit. We're gonna go give him some heavier legs, because we're getting a lot of extra cooling from other places. So I'm thinking probably maybe the Gabriel 2s. Alright. And what are we talking about leg weight here? Okay, it's just his arms that are overweight, so that doesn't matter for a flamethrower build. So that'll do the job. Let's test it, and then we'll finally do that fight you're asking for. I know, I'm being annoying. It's so close to working, I just wanted to get it working. Alright. Oh, come on, stop going backwards. Yeah, I think one chip that they could have definitely could have done within this game is not so much the would you like to turn off the boosters, it's like would you like to turn off their backwards button. Because oh my goodness. Is some special brand of stupid when they do that. Alright. No, we are going for a lighter weight build. We're gonna go for something a bit different. We're gonna turn down his starting speed a little bit. Or we're gonna go for something like this. Hold on, let me go see what's going on with the kiddos, one sec. Alright, so here's what I'm thinking on this. ECM's decent but unreliable, so we're gonna get rid of that for space. It is basically a good little nail in the coffin, so to speak, but it's not really what I want. I'm thinking probably higher. Well, I guess you are getting 200 extra weight off of that 200 extra attack heat, so it's not really. Actually, that's ammo. That's not even attack heat. Okay, it's 400 attack heat. Still, it's not worth it. So there we go. We're gonna shed a little bit of weight here. Go to those AI tendencies. See if we turn down his dash somewhat. That'll maybe sort out the problems here. Alright, and there we go. Hopefully that'll do it. Right. There we go, gets in close. Seems to be a good bit faster now. Getting there with 4,000 instead of 3,000. He's having issues in terms of being too fast, though. Oh, come on with your slightly... Oh, come on. Don't be a spaz. Don't be a spaz. Just stick close to it. That's the thing. If you tell them to go behind, and then they get behind, then they're solid. And that's kind of the choice here. If you tell them to go behind, then they have an issue if they're fighting something with the high turn speed. So if they've got high turn speed, they're like, okay, I gotta make a big circular move. So that's not gonna work there because he's a tank. He can quickly turn. A hard counter for that type of thing, even though that chip should be their hard counter. But whatever. He's a side turn booster. Yeah, I was considering it, but this allows him to get in close faster is the thing. Yeah, now he's getting close without them, but it's also, he's using them twice to get in close. So he's using 2 quick boosts. I mean, yeah, we'll give the quick turners a bit of a shot. I was just worried about using them because I'm kind of seeing the same thing I've seen with a bunch of shotgun builds over and over, where they just overturn in the wrong direction over and over. Yeah, he's doing okay. But that's the thing, it's really inconsistent right now. And I want to find a consistent thing that doesn't use any of the meta parts. Alright, we'll go for the quick turners because he's just stuck hopping on his head over and over and can't bother to aim down. Okie doke. Let's make that happen. Hell, even the anglers might not be the worst idea in the world. As funny as that sounds, considering how annoyed I was at how they were doing stuff. Actually, I wonder. Alright, let's give this a shot, because then instead of hopping around all over the place, you might just hover and burn. Let's give it a shot. I think this actually might be the piece of music that got me yelled at copyright-wise the other day. Because it's technically a cover, which I don't think they monetized it. I mean, hell, whatever. They want to monetize it, I don't care. I just didn't know who it was. Although it was something in Japanese, so it might have been an Armored Core thing. In which case, if they're focusing more on friggin', well, monetizing the OST instead of making a sequel, that'd be pretty annoying. I mean, maybe. Yeah, if a player had this tank, their cooling wouldn't be nearly as good. That's the funny part. So if you max out cooling and you max out tuning for cooling, and then you max out their cooling stat, it functionally gives them almost infinite heat resistance. So I think they have to do somewhere beyond like 50,000 per second in order to be able to do anything here. Because even with maximum overheat so far, it's never emptied them out. Also, one sec, I don't know what they're arguing about now. Alright, leaving the thing off for just a moment because I'm expecting there to be more baby shenanigans in a moment here. I don't know if, a lasting peace has been achieved over there. So, let's go ahead and go for these. It's worth a shot at any rate. I was hoping if he went for a hover type setup that might have been interesting, but then that also would require giving him a chip that would force him to hover, at which point kind of wind up in another awkward scenario where suddenly he doesn't want to get close because he's just kind of hovering around all over the place. I mean, it could work. It's not the worst idea in the world. He would be a very solid counter tank. Because yeah, the thing is, it would give him a very fluid vertical axis. He'd be able to move around in such a way that lasers would have a hard time hitting him aside from snapshots. It's hard to say how well it would work, though. Alright. Good start. He needs that big burn, though. And he's still preferring a manual turn to actually using them. Oh, you... would you just get close and burn him? It's really not that complicated. Oh boy, I gotta remember not to do one of these when having gotten absolutely no sleep. Okay, so let's go ahead and swap out some stuff. So what I'm thinking, if this isn't going to help, then what will help is just increasing his turning speed to the point that it's absolutely ridiculous. So, okay. So that's all well and good, but it's also very, very, very heavy. So, if I go light napalm, surprisingly that's only 9,000 per shot, so it's actually not going to do very much. I need something that puts out a lot of heat per shot. Maybe the H3 or something along those lines. Let's see, that's just 27, that's just 29. I mean, H3 could work. Because now our turning speed's up to something fantastic. We can get it up to 1402 with this one. But then we're sacrificing about half that heat output. What else can we do here? If we put this head on there, we up that turning speed even more. Sacrifice some defense, get a little bit more stability somehow. What else do we got here? We can up turning speed a little bit more with these arms, but they're already in use. And we're kind of just getting incremental bonuses at this point, so we can probably just go like this. Which is, as long as it's putting out ridiculous heat damage, it's something. Let's see if we take away all of its attack knowledge and put it all into terrain. Wonder if it'll be able to pull off some shenanigans. And it sounds like we got more shenanigans off in the background, so I will be back in just a moment. Here's this test. Oh boy. Alright, I see that one amazingly. Let's go ahead and give that another retry. See if it was just bad luck or if it's just not going to work. Alright, well, he can put out a good amount of heat here. Makes him a bit more consistent with that heat. Yeah, the problem is that one flamethrower isn't actually enough. It doesn't even overheat him. Yeah, I definitely need 2 overheat stacks to pull this off. Possibly scatter mines might have to be taken off the other guy to make this work. Yeah, he's already out of shots. Well, yeah, we're gonna give him the scatter mines. We're gonna have to give Law and Defender something else. Because those would be able to make this happen. As long as he doesn't finish himself off. Alright, we'll go ahead and give him DCMs. We can go for the grenades, though. That could also do the job. 6 shots just ain't worth it. 24, probably too many. It's hard to call with this one. It's hard to call. You know, I just noticed I'm missing something really obvious here. Answer's been right there at the very top of the list this entire time. I was like, what am I thinking of that's the absolute ideal for this situation that I know I've seen used to great effect a bunch of times? Friggin' scatter bombs! How have I completely forgotten about the scatter bombs? Probably because they never come up, but still. Scatter bombs, dual flamers, that'll do the job. There we go, and then we can go ahead and get this test done. And yeah, that should be the key to making this consistent. And I might be wondering why, because again, scatter bombs, generally speaking, kind of suck. So the thing with the scatter bombs is, yeah, they are exclusively useful in these kinds of situations where you have somebody that's going to be right up somebody's nose, and they've really got nothing better to do with their inside parts. So he's just going to go ahead and take that Fenrir, take that LX, get close. And now the interesting thing is they tend to get used very well when using the whole bullet rain situation. Why he's not using them right now, I don't know. I think we might even just... Yeah, I think we might replace it with this scatter bomb version. If he's not going to use it. Actually, no, that's what it was. That's what Cal figured out last year. That it was the scatter bomb AI that was really useful in flamethrowers. That's what it is. So let's go make that happen. Where's the scatter bomb AI? I know it's somewhere here. Yeah, bomb shower. There we go. Go, take those hits. Now if he just gets a little bit of burn off here, we're good. What are you doing? Burn! Come on. I mean, those will do the job still, but... I don't know why he's not using his flamethrowers now. Alright, so those would work really well. He's just decided that he doesn't have arm weapons now. The weird part is, you can see over there on, for arm left and arm right, they're active. I don't know why he's not firing them. Huh. Alright, well that's annoying. Alright, let's try something else. Alright, let's try MA3. See if that maybe does the job. Alright, still getting close. I mean, damage-wise, that's working okay. So I'm thinking that plus scatter mines might be the way to do it. Because unfortunately he's still placing himself solidly in front. This might be the secret to make it consistent. Alright. Next try. Still dodging. Why aren't you getting close? Please get close. Alright. There we go. That's much better. And he's using the mines as well. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's probably about as consistent as we're going to get it. You know, run it one more time for good measure, but yeah, that's probably about as good as that's going to go. Oh yeah, and the guy that I couldn't remember who had built a crap load of AIs in the past, I think that was Azure. So sorry about forgetting your name. It's just been a while. Go. There we are. I don't like his walking tendency being quite that high, but it's probably... I don't want to necessarily move it. So yeah, this thing is an absolute nightmare now. So probably the least refined of this bunch right now is the Ralathor, which... that's fine. He's a weird nuke build, it's fine. Like, this guy is literally just a random shot in the dark. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Whatever. Okay. So, you wanted to see a fight between who here? Let's see here. One of them was Bayne, so let's go ahead and set that up. Alright. Let's see, Bayne and Shijinko? Yeah, I have no idea where the hell Shijinko is. I want to say they were in Team 3, because that sounds familiar, so I'm pretty sure it's one of the ones we beat already. Yeah, or Shikijo. Is that the same one? I don't know. Maybe it's the same one. There we go. I'm gonna use the spread bazooka guy, so I'm assuming that's what it was. Because yeah, while a shoddy build could do some stuff here, the problem is that they're not going to win in the DPS race. Because part of what makes the shoddy build work is the fact that they have to be able to survive at mid-range while out DPSing the other guy. Like, each one of them has one exact thing that they have to go for most of the time. So like the flamethrower build here is kind of the evolution of the shotgun build in a more extreme direction, that they have to be in ultra close range. They have to get that extra DPS, so in this case, it's just because he has the scatter mines that puts him over just enough to be able to completely overwhelm an LX tank, but it's going to lose to almost any other thing because it's, well, not the greatest situation for it. So first of all, let me go ahead and save this as a team save. Birthday's next Thursday? Oh, well, happy almost birthday there, man. How's it feel to be all old? Yeah, celebrating my kiddo's birthday this weekend. Little man's gonna be a slightly older man. Gonna have to go get his pension and his car and his walker and his pills. Lemoa, you're laughing about Master of Arena? Jeez. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this thing. So let's go ahead and get this thing going once again. Realistically, I don't know if we're gonna even have time for the Adu run again. I know. Started late. Alright. Alright, go ahead and getting close here. Yeah, that terrain awareness is good. It's making them take cover. Goes, you got the burn off. Hit and retry, because realistically we're just going to keep retrying until he gets it again. Because nobody else can do anything against an LX tank. There we go with that mega burn. And he gets it, okay. Now against almost anything else, this thing's just gonna die. There's no question there. Alright, now he got the burn off. He's got a chance. Oh, now he just got hit by some mines. Yeah, it's disgusting damage. It's just really difficult to hit on anything other than the tank. So usually it just gets plinked to death by anything else because it has no armor. Yeah, it took the napalm. Yeah, that's as expected. Yeah, there's... I mean, he can try, but realistically he's not going to do anything other than counter a tank. That's the weird meta of this game. Everything counters something else, and hell, that's the series in general. Everybody counters something. And then eventually somebody gets butthurt because their favorite build that they put all their personality into suddenly gets countered by something. And then you get people fighting over all kinds of dumb crap. Anywho. Yeah, this thing basically has the mech equivalent of crumple zones. So it doesn't try to resist the damage of the napalm rocket as much as it just tries to get it out of its system as fast as possible. Alright. Still a close fight here. wasn't for those napalms, it wouldn't even be slightly close. Oh, is he still gonna do it? It's close. Technical win. Yeah, that was really dang close. Alright, Fenrir and Gatling. Hard to call. I would say if it wasn't on a biped, I would be betting on the Fenrir. Especially if they weren't circle strafing, his aim's getting jacked up on the ECMs. Now he's still potentially got this. Doing alright with the Fenrir there. And Pew. Well, if he's out of Fenrir shots now, then that might be it, because he might be out of his Gatling too. Not firing for some reason. Coming out with the EOs? Yeah, no, just barely. It's because he ran out of Fenrir shots. Yeah, I can see the mentality behind that one. That it was meant to basically carve out a big hole with the Fenrir. Was supposed to whittle down with the Gatling and then finish off the EOs. All right, looks like we got a big grenadey boy. This actually looks super close to one of the builds in the arena. All right, do that quick charge. No, he looks like this one's got him. Interesting spider type setup with this one, I gotta say. It's like as soon as he gets that right angle, he can keep pounding on him. Alright, Hyperion's next on the list. Very little doubt that the Hyperion's gonna win this one. Well, it depends entirely on that quad speed, though. Because if he tries to go for aiming angles, then yeah, he's gonna get roasted. Although the stun on that grenade launcher could be what does it here. Yeah, he's getting a good bit of heat out from all of that. Alright, fair enough. Let's see, who's next? Ralthor? Sure. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, this is one of those ones that there's really not enough going on there to go out of your way to counter it. It's just kind of hoping the AI figures out how to fight this thing. Okay, it doesn't have missile distractors. Why did you miss? Weird. I still might get this. It's really low odds, but yeah. I don't get why those first two just kind of randomly shot off in the wrong direction, though. Ah, whatever. Go ahead and call it down to jank, I guess. Alright, let me go set up this next fight, and let me go see what's going on with the kiddos in the background. I might just end it early today. Alright, we are back. Oh crap, did he just win? Yeah, I want to see that replay. What the hell did I just miss? That's probably the worst of these streams by far. I'll readily admit that one. Alright, so what did he do here? So he did his usual thing. Whoa. Huh. Okay, interesting maneuver. Oh, he got it all out then. Okay. He got the full web out. And we're gonna go for a rematch. I've never seen that particular glitch happen on this map, but we can go ahead and give it another go. Also, one more second. Jeez, what is going on today? Take the win, you say? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Just want to see what happens here. Because I know this one could be that one. It all depends. Because he's pretty bulky. He's pretty bulky. He's got good DPS. Depends entirely on if he gets his pods out or not. Not really sure what he's trying to do here, but whatever. Now they're both glitched. Whatever. And move on to the next one. Move on to the last one and the last one. And then I think we'll do a little bit of AC3, see if I get a couple bits ahead in that, and then we'll call it good. And then we'll move on with other stuff next time. There we go. See, he's doing a pretty okay job. Ah, it just looks so cool once they get all those turrets out. Love when that thing works well. Alright, so we'll call that good there. For this part of it anyway. Go ahead and save for this one. And okay. Or do we want to just finish off the Savage ones for... Yeah, I think we'll just keep doing Savage ones. Because I don't think there's really going to be enough to make much meaningful progress in the AC3 run. Save for the next one. Alrighty. I feel like this build definitely suffered with that ECM idea. I mean, it's supposed to be going for scatter mines, but the other one's already doing that. And I have no idea why he keeps going to friggin' 200 and calling it good. Come to think of it, you know what? You know what I should probably have done? Probably should have done this from the get-go. Let's give you that attack from above thing. That'll probably sort it out real good. Alright. Actually, wait. Hyobi's the one we already did, wasn't it? I don't know. Yeah, we'll definitely just call it good after this. Yeah, and that gets him nice and close range. I'm gonna have to up his turning radius somehow. That's definitely more consistent. Yeah, no, I think I'm just gonna call it good for today. Yeah, I gotta go get a bunch of other stuff done anyway. So, thank you guys for stopping by. Sorry for the kind of weird ending and generally slow progress today, but yeah, we'll do more stuff next time. And I think we'll actually start with AC3 run next time. It's alright. See you next time then. Take care.